round of applause for Ashish, MCing, please. So my name is not like a legit Sam Chunky. What he's done is combined my name as Sam with one half of my Instagram name, which is Chunky Awesome. My surname is Patel. It's not exciting, but just thought I'd let you guys know. This is the third time I'm doing stand-up, by the way, so I'm still very new, so I will accept pit laughs and applause. Fun. Ashish, as well as being a very, very good dog carrier and almost falling over, is very instrumental in helping me out with my career, so to speak. My first gig I ever did, he said to me, Sam, one thing you need to do is the mic stand, take it away from your body and put it to the side. That way, people can see you better. Now, oh, where's Sam gone? No, but thank you so much for that, Ashish. I appreciate it. I will use that joke every single time to highlight. Anyway, how's everyone doing? I'm not gonna don't answer that because half you will answer, yeah, I'm doing great, and I'm not gonna follow up on that. So there's no point. It's June. That means it's wedding season. Is anyone getting married soon? Oh, is that legit? Yep. Great. Weddings are always interesting for me. I always go back in time to remember how much I hated weddings when I was a child, but also how much I loved them at the same time. Now, being Indian and going to weddings was an absolute fucking nightmare, because as a child, I had no idea what was going on. I don't know how many of you have been to Indian weddings or have experiences with them. Usually it's different depending on who you are and the colour of your skin. If you're a white person, you'll be like, that was beautiful. It's so colourful. I love the way the ceremony is done. It's just beautiful. If you're brown, it's like, that was 5 hours of my life I'll never ever get back, and I don't understand what's happening. It's the worst. When you're a child, though, it's a mixed bag, right? When we arrive at the wedding, it's always a bit of a joke thing, because as a child, you're like, I need to stick to my parents. I don't know anyone here. I don't speak Gujarati. My parents speak Gujarati. I don't. Everyone there speaks Gujarati, and they just assume that every single kid is fluent in that. And I was like, no, I'm not. One of the things I hate the most that people would do is they'll come up to my parents like a family friend or something. I don't know who this person is. You're right, mate. Heckling already. And he'll come up to us and my parents are like, oh, how you doing? And then they'll look at me and be like, oh, how you doing? You remember me? And then me being a kid, not wanting to be a dickhead, I don't know who he is, right? But I'll just be like, yeah. And then that's how it should just be, right? No. Because then this guy will then turn around and look at me and be like, who am I then? And it's like, oh, cheers, mate. Now we both look like dickheads. I look like a dickhead because I just lied to you. I don't know who you are. And you look like a dickhead because you're not relevant to be known by me. Congrats. Thanks for that. I hate it so much. Now, the flip side, though, it's always a lot of fun, right? Because there's other kids there as well. The thing about these Indian weddings as well, they don't really always take place in fancy locations. It's always like a school that's been hired out on the weekend or a community centre somewhere. So when you're a kid, the first thing you do once you break away from your parents is you go and explore the shit out of that fucking school. There's always some random grumpy caretaker that you've got to try to avoid when you try and go places. But it's always jokes when you see the kids there, because you're like, I remember you. Do you remember we went to that last wedding last month? Yeah, it was the Patel wedding. Yeah, that was it. And then someone will be like, yo, remember how much fun we had like 3 months prior at the Patel wedding? And you'll be like, yeah, that was wicked. And then you'll be like, yo, are you guys going to be coming to the one next month? You know, the Patel wedding. There's a lot of Patel weddings. I don't really go to many non-Patel weddings. And that's why weddings are always kind of a mess for that. Not really that fun, to be honest with you, but sometimes it can be. Speaking of fun, to do a shit segue, I like watching wrestling. Does anyone here like watching wrestling?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for outing yourself as fellow losers with me. So I go watch wrestling in Camden every month, right? And there's 2 reasons why I like watching wrestling, right? The first thing is the actual wrestling. It's quite entertaining. However, the second part is the most important and probably more entertaining than the wrestling, and that is the fan interactions, right? Because these fans come up with the most ridiculous chants you could ever hear. Right? I think it's more of a football culture thing that's just migrated over to people watching wrestling. But the thing about these people is, at the same time, they can be so savage with some of their chants that it's like you can destroy someone's career in an instant. let me just paint a picture for you. To become a wrestler, you need to train really hard for like years. You need to put your body through an insane amount of work. It's a mental thing as well. You just got to bog down, you got to train up, yeah. You got to train, and you got to try really hard to kind of get there. The second most important thing to become a wrestler is you need to come up with a character for yourself. If you haven't got a character, you're just some random guy in your pants fighting another guy in his pants, right? It's not always entertaining. If you've got a character though, it helps build you up. You get a connection with the crowd. Let me give you an example of one wrestler. There's a wrestler called Malik. He's brown. He fits with the theme of this whole thing. His nickname is the Hitter. It's not that inventive, but you know, the Hitter, because he hits people. Cool, that sounds great. However, what happens when the crowd hears that? What do they call him? They don't call him Hitter, they call him Shitter. Just like that, they've undone this guy's life's work to perform in front of people with a character, and now what they've done is they've just turned him into a toilet. How do you take someone seriously to be hitting someone when they're just called Shitter? Let me give you one final example. Alright, I'm done almost. One more example, right? There's a female wrestler, her name is Nightshade. Oh, it sounds so mystique. She's got the whole gear that comes out, mystique, comes out mysterious. Ooh, great. What happens? What did someone in the crowd call her? Lampshade. She went from being Nightshade, ooh, mysterious, right? Lampshade. Someone in the crowd was like, Lampshade. And then that was it. Everyone in the crowd started calling her Lampshade. And it was like, again, just destroyed this woman's career in the ring. How can anyone take her seriously when she's named after something you can buy in IKEA? Terrible. On the flip side of that, there's one other guy who has embraced the crowd being dickheads. The crowd's calling him a twat, right? So what did he do? He made a t-shirt that just says spectacular twat. He comes out to his entrance music and everyone starts chanting twat at him. He just hands up. He literally, this is no lie, he has the longest queue at the merch stand of people wanting to buy spectacular twat t-shirts. Me being a 30-year-old, 12-year-old boy, I was like, could I buy that t-shirt? If I could I wear it? And I'm trying to think of the scenarios where I could wear it. And the only place I could probably wear that, where it would be applicable, would be at home. That's about it, really, guys. Thank you so much.
Actually, give it up some spectacular stuff. No. He is Nightshade, though. He's Nightshade.